Oh hey, would you like to play a game? I promise you I won't cheat you out of any money. Are you ready? It's called How Old is the Girl / Super Young Woman, depending on where you draw the line between girlhood and womanhood, boyfriend. Alright, settle down everyone. I know society loves to find new men to hate on. First up, we have Miss Billie Eilish, who is 19 years old. And here we have her boyfriend, Matthew Tyler Vorse. Place your bets. The correct answer is 29. Next up, in 2013, model and actress Toni Garn was 21 when she dated Leonardo DiCaprio. How old do we think Leo was? He was 39. And Miss Tay recently released All Too Well, where she was 20 during her relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal. He was how old at the time? That's right, 29.
I got some toothpaste on my shirt and I had to rinse it off with some water. I have a question. At what age can we start treating women like women? Apparently, if you're a 21-year-old woman who wants to screw a 39-year-old man, you're a victim because he has power over you. How old do women have to be to screw a 40-year-old without being seen as a child or a victim, frankly? I'm 20 and I need to know so I can conform to this new society that claims to be nonconformist, unlike our old society. Oh wait!
I feel like every now and then, a super young female celebrity, either in their late teens or early 20s, is reported to be in a romantic relationship with a man that is significantly older than them. And we all scrunch up our noses in disgust, but then eventually move on.
Maybe you do, I don't really care. They're both adults, right? And this is America, right? Bam.
We don't really spend enough time pondering over what the attraction and appeal is, and how these age gap relationships are consistently forming.
Oh wow, it's almost like nobody really cares. It's just that people want to avoid responsibility and be victimized.
And no, it's not always daddy issues. I know Freud made it so convenient to explain everything with a broad theory, but it doesn't work that way. In fact, I think the prevalence of daddy issues being used as an explanatory tool has contributed to its desirability.
I agree, just like victimhood mentality as an explanatory tool and social currency has led to its desirability.
Claiming that you have daddy issues almost makes you cool, or at the very least funny. Like, I'm such a crackhead, OMG, I have daddy issues, lol.
It does not make you cool. Talking about daddy issues in that tone makes you sound like a pick-me girl. Or a pick-me boy if you're talking about your mommy issues.
For clarity, I'm focusing on large age differences, so perhaps 7 years or more, and on heterosexual relationships where the female is barely legal, aka late teens or very early 20s.
Early 20s is considered barely legal for women? I don't see this terminology applied to men in their early 20s. Why can't women in their early 20s make the decision to date an older guy? Men in their early 20s can date older women without feminists batting an eye.
I recognize this is a touchy subject because many want to assert that the younger female in a large age gap relationship is a complete victim of social conditioning, gender roles, and perhaps past experiences. I agree that I am not going to be shaming young girls or young women that find themselves dating significantly older men. However, I do not think it is fair to absolve girls and young women completely of their role in the relationship, not just for personal responsibility reasons, but mostly because I think it is patronizing to view them as having been at the complete mercy of manipulative, uncontrollable powers. I want them to know that they do have a choice and the will to make different decisions.
Okay, then what is the problem? You're recognizing that the woman made a choice. Why are you painting women choosing to date older men as something bad if they have agency in this scenario? I know that she's painting it as something bad because she says that women have the will to make different decisions.
I want them to know that they do have a choice and the will to make different decisions.
If it wasn't something bad in her opinion, why would she be talking about making different decisions? I must also point out that earlier she said that women in their early 20s were barely legal, implying that they are underdeveloped in some way because they just passed the age of consent 2 years ago at least. If she wasn't implying this, then why bring it up at all?
Simone de Beauvoir talks about, sometimes it is easier and more comfortable for women to accept their object role, but it is in defining yourself that lies the uncomfortable challenge.
Alright, Betty over here wants to define herself as a 21-year-old woman who dates 40-year-old men. No, you can't do that. That means you're an object.
Romantic relationships in which women are the older partner face a lot more stigma and judgment than relationships of equal age or older men, younger women pairings. It stems from deeply ingrained beliefs about how men should be the provider, protector, and women should be the taken care of, a treasure that is won.
It's not that society says that women should want a provider, it's just that usually women do want a provider. Women typically look for financial stability in a man, and men typically look for youth and beauty in a woman. Men's salaries tend to be higher when they're in their 30s, so that's when they're most financially stable, and women in their 20s like that. I'm not saying that this is everyone, but most women value different things in their partners than men. I'm also not saying that being an older woman means that you're ugly. High fertility is something else that a lot of straight men are looking for. Women's fertility decreases with age. It's a two-way street where women are usually looking for a good provider and men are looking for beautiful young women. There, it's not witchcraft or a problem, it's just the way things work out. I'm not being a bigot, I promise. Strong, independent women. Go girls.
What are the benefits that are so commonly associated with being with older men? After watching YouTube videos from women who have dated much older men, as well as reading some literature, there seems to be a general pattern of pros that are claimed to come with it.
Pros that are claimed to go with it. Why do you talk about it as if there are no pros? There's just things that are seen as pros because the patriarchy told women that they're pros. How dare they? Only us, the feminists, can tell women what to do. Not the patriarchy, us.
As a result of being put together, they are financially stable enough to buy you nicer things or experiences. They can take you to a fancy restaurant, whereas 19-year-olds can only drive you to Chipotle in their mom's car. This is an especially nice feeling for those who felt neglected by their parents and, in particular, father when they were younger. Girls want to be spoiled, pampered by these men. You want him to treat you like a baby, pay constant attention to you. It's not just about the benefits you directly incur, but also about how those benefits position you relative to others your age. In a 2004 study conducted in Kenya, female participants explained that though some young women have legitimate financial needs and seek assistance from older partners, most want to impress their peers and enjoy luxuries such as trendy clothing, hairstyles, jewelry, cosmetics, and toiletries, or outings to expensive restaurants that they cannot otherwise afford, or that their parents refuse to or cannot provide. All of this can lead some young women who score older partners to brag to their friends about all the gifts and experiences they get.
I don't care how many dads I have. If my boyfriend buys me something nice, I'm gonna shout it from the rooftops. He didn't have to buy anything for me, and yet he did. So you bet you and your broke 19-year-old boyfriend are gonna hear about it. I'm kidding on that last part.
As a result, it can make other women feel excluded from social circles, and hence also pursue older partners to fit in.
I mean, if you're insecure and unhappy because your friends are dating older rich guys, then they're not the problem. You and your sorry self are. Go to therapy.
The gifts and nice trips are enjoyable, but it gives the older partner greater bargaining power. Younger women or girls who benefit from the man's more stable position in life end up feeling like they are obligated to return the favor. This usually materializes in physically intimate actions because they don't usually have the financial means to pay back a fancy dinner in return. Although this may not be a big issue in the developed Western world, I think an example about protection usage in Kenya is still worth considering. Men often employ their dominant position in relationships by refusing to use protection, sometimes accusing younger partners of not trusting them. A man may threaten to break off the relationship if his partner insists on using protection. Rather than lose the financial and social rewards they depend on in such relationships, most women acquiesce and forgo use.
Imagine your argument being so paper thin that you have to use an example from Kenya. Kenya, a society that is very different from the United States. Oh yeah, I'm sure Taylor Swift and Jake Gyllenhaal's relationship was just like the one in this Kenyan example. Pathetic. Oops, I spit. Pathetic. Pathetic.
As with all relationships, they grow emotionally and sometimes financially dependent on their older partner. But they worry that because the man is so much older and so much more mature, the man can suddenly decide to dump the woman or girl if they ever feel that she is no longer mature enough or desirable.
You can dump whoever you want for whatever reason. Not finding someone desirable anymore is a big reason to break up with them, even if you're the same age.
Hi, Editing Olivia here. So I forgot to mention this while I was filming, but there's actually this thing called the Romeo and Juliet effect, which is when a couple that experiences intense judgment or disapproval from society, just basically lots of stigmatization, that backlash and judgment can actually cause the couple to want to stay together even more and be even closer to each other. The way Romeo and Juliet fell in love despite both of their families heavily disapproving of them. I think this raises the important question then of how we address these large age gap differences when there is a super young woman and girl with a much older man. Because while I think it is definitely justified to express yourself in very judgmental or disapproving tones, perhaps hating on the couple or hating on one of the partners is not the best way to go, since that can be counterproductive and cause the woman to want to protect the man, defend the man, and want to make a point by staying in the relationship even more.
Okay, so she's saying that we need to do everything we can to decrease the number of relationships where the woman is barely legal, aka 20, and the man is much older. However, she's also saying that stigmatizing those relationships may backfire because they might stay together to prove a point. Doesn't this undermine your whole video, since despite the patriarchy or whoever stigmatizing relationships where the man is younger and the woman is much older, they will still want to get together anyway? Doesn't this mean that the reason that you rarely see older women with younger men is because it's counterintuitive to what most straight people want and not because society is mean?
This part I feel icky talking about, but youthfulness is attractive to men, and it's associated with beauty. Younger women are widely thought of as being able to satisfy a man's S3X desires better than older women. Male participants in the 2004 study also described younger women and girls as having firm breasts and tender bodies.
Yeah, your breasts get watery when you age. Some people prefer rock hard, The Firm Titty Committee agrees with this fact.
There's this misogynistic and also objectively wrong myth that once a woman turns 30, her body just starts to wrinkle and she starts to lose her sexuality, when that's just not true. I feel like I just had to add that in.
The titty thing doesn't apply when you're 30. However, most men would rather date a 25-year-old versus a 30-year-old because when you turn 30, that means that half of your eggs are gone. By the way, we've been talking about straight men and straight women this whole time, so I'm not being exclusive or whatever. I'm just following the conversation with how she began. I'm just bringing this up because I don't know if I put the clip where she says she's only talking about hetero relationships in the beginning when I'm editing. I got tired of this video because it's 24 minutes long and I don't want to repeat myself. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.